Okay, so in 2.2, we're looking at linear equations in one variable. So we're still with linear, as in the highest exponent is 1. But now, instead of having y and x, they're just going to look like this. So really, we're just dealing with equations that just have x. For example, here, we're solving 2x plus 7 equals 19. It's linear because the x doesn't have an exponent, and it's one variable because the only letter is x. So to solve this, we're just trying to get x alone. So we would subtract 7 from both sides. Here it would cancel. 19 minus 7 is 12. And then we would divide by 2, leaving us with x equals 6. So pause the video and do the you try. So subtract 1 from both sides. So negative 9 minus 1 is negative 10. Then we divide both sides by 2. Negative 10 divided by 2 is negative 5. When you have your parentheses, you're going to use your distributive property to multiply that through. So 4 times x is 4x. 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. And then negative 5 times x is negative 5x. Negative 5 times negative 6 is negative 30. Then you combine like terms on each side. So negative 12 plus 12 cancels out. And then 15 minus 30 is negative 15. And now we have just like the other ones. So I'm going to add 5x to both sides to get the x's on the same side. So 4x plus 5x is negative 9x. Or 9x, sorry. Then divide both sides by 9. And you get negative 15 over 9. And those are both divisible by 3. So that reduces to negative 5/3. So x would equal negative 5/3. So why don't you pause the video and do the you try. We do the same thing here, so we're going to distribute that negative 2. So negative 2 times negative 1 becomes positive 1. Combine our like terms, so negative 6 plus 6 is negative 5x. Then we'll bring the x over. So negative 5x plus x is negative 4x. Subtract 2 from both sides. Negative 4x equals 12. Divide by negative 4. So x equals negative 3. So that's just a quick review of multi-step equations is essentially what that is. So now we're going to look at rational equations. Rational equations are just equations that has the variable or the x on the bottom of the fraction. Our goal is to get rid of the denominator, and then you're just doing a multi-step equation. So the easiest way to get rid of that is to multiply by something that's going to get rid of the fraction. So you want to try to find a common denominator. So if we look here, we have a 2x and a 3x and a 3. So 2 times 3 is 6, and we know we need an x. So if we multiply everything by 6x, that's going to end up canceling out all of our denominators. So 6x times 7, 6 times 7 is 42. So if we multiply their numerator, we get 42x over 2x. Then we multiply it here. So 6x times 5 is 30x. And then 6 times 22 is 132. Now that we've multiplied, and it's like multiplying fractions, because this would be over 1, and you do numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator, and anything times 1 is itself. Now we can simplify each fraction. So 42 divided by 2 is 21. So 42 over 2 is 21. The x's cancel. 30 divided by 3 is 10. Oh, I forgot the x there when I multiplied. Sorry, so 6x times 5. So that x will also cancel. And then 132 divided by 3 is 44. And there's no x on the bottom, so it stays there. Now we just do our subtraction. So 21 minus 10 is 11. And then divide both sides by 44. So 11 divided by 44 reduces to 1/4. So 1/4 equals x. All right, I'm going to do another one with you. So if we look at these on our denominators, we have a 2 and an x and a 2x. So let's multiply everything by 2x. So 2x over 1. 2x times 2 is 4x. 1 times x is x. Minus 2x times 3 would be 6x. 1 times 2 is 2. Equals 2x times 7 is 14x. 1 times 2x is 2x. Now let's simplify. So the x's cancel. We're left with 4. 6 divided by 2 is 3. We'll have our x. 14 divided by 2 is 7. Those x's cancel. Now we just have an equation to solve. So we subtract 4 from both sides. Negative 3x equals 3. Divide both sides by negative 3. And then negative 3 divided by 3 is negative 1. So x equals negative 1. Why don't you pause the video and do the you try? All right, so down here we have a 3x and a 4 and a 6x. You might look at this and recognize like, hey, 12 goes into all of those, so I could do 12x. Or you might not recognize that, and you might say, hey, 3 times 4 times 6, and multiply all of those together and do 72x. Either's fine, they'll all get you there. So let's do 72 just to show you. So 72 times 2 is 144x. So 144x over 3x equals 72 times 1 is going to be 72x over 4. 72 times 1 is 72x over 6x. Now we'll simplify. 144 divided by 3 is 48. The x's cancel. 72 divided by 4 is 18. There's no x on the bottom. And 72 divided by 6 is 12. Those cancel. So now I add 12 to both sides. And I get 60 equals 18x. Divide by 18. And 60 divided by 18, you get 3.3 repeating. Or if you left it as a fraction, it reduces to 10 over 3. Either of those answers is fine. Now, let's say you had recognized that the 12x worked. Like, that was not a good copy job. Maybe you recognize that the least common multiple was 12x. So I'm just going to show you. So 12 times 2 is 24. And then this would be 12x over 4 and 12x over 6x. So when you simplify here, you would get 8. And then you would get 3x. And then you would get 2. When you add 2 to both sides and then divide, you get the same answer. So if you recognize smaller numbers, like least common multiples, you're more than welcome to use them. But if you don't recognize them, you can always just multiply the numbers together and use a bigger one. They'll still simplify to the same answer. Either part is fine. All right, let's look at another example. Okay, so if we look at this one, we have a 10 and a 4x. So 10 times 4 is 40. So let's multiply by 40x. 40x times 1 is 40x. 40x times 1 is still 40x. And then 40x times 3 is 120x. Then we simplify. So here the x's cancel. And then here we simplify. We're left with 4x. And here we simplify. And we're left with 30. So we're going to add 30 to both sides. So we get 70 equals 4x. Divide by 4. And we get 70 over 4. And those are both divisible by 2. So we get 35 over 2. And then, so you could leave it like that, or 35 divided by 2 is 17.5. Either of those answers would be fine. All right. So why don't you pause the video and do the U try? Okay. So here, if you found the least common multiple, it would be 8x. You also could have multiplied everything together, and 2 times 4 is 8, times 4 is 32. So you could do 32x as well. Either thing will get you to the same answer. 8 times negative 5 is negative 40x. 8 times 3x is 24x. And then 8x times 7 is 56x. And there's a negative there, so don't forget to carry your negative sign. Then we reduce. So negative 40 divided by 2 is negative 20. 24 divided by 4 is 6. And then 56 divided by 4 is 14. And the x is going to carry. Negative 20 plus 6 is negative 14. And then divide both sides by negative 14. And you get x equals 1. So that is when you have just a monomial or one term on the bottom. So now you've got a couple different looking rational functions. So sometimes, like for A, you just have one fraction on each side. When you have only one fraction on each side, the easiest way to do it is to cross multiply. Multiply. So this is actually a proportion. So if you multiply those, you get 3 times x. And then if you multiply those, you get 5 times x minus 6. Now you can just solve that. So this side stays 3x. This is distribution. So 5 times x is 5x. 5 times negative 6 is negative 30. Now we would just move the 5x over. So we subtract 5x from both sides. 3 minus 5 is negative 2. And this cancels. Then divide both sides by negative 2. So x equals 15. Then part of the problem says state any excluded values. So this is like before with our domain. You can't have 0 on the bottom of the fraction. So what numbers in this problem would make the fraction equal 0? Well, here, the bottom of this fraction, it can't equal 0. And then here, if I put a regular 6 in, 6 minus 6 equals 0. So the excluded values in this one would be 6 and negative 6. So our regular answer is x equals 15. That's the solution. And then our excluded values would be 0 and negative 6. Now, over here for B, same thing we were just doing on the other side. We're going to multiply by our greatest common factor. So if there's more than one fraction, we're going to do what we were doing before. Least common denominator. So really what we're doing is we're going to say, hey, we have a 2 and we have an x minus 3. So we're going to multiply by 2 times x minus 3. So for the first fraction, we're going to list those out. We're going to list the 2. We're going to list the x minus 3. And then we're going to list the x that's already there. And then on the bottom, we're going to put the denominator that's already there. So that's this first fraction. Then we're going to write the equal sign. Then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to list the 2 and the x minus 3 and the 5 that's there and write the denominator. So now we've done this fraction. Then we're going to write the minus sign. Then we're going to do it again. 2, x minus 3, and the 1 that's there over 2, because that's the bottom of that fraction. Now we're going to cancel anything out. So we have x minus 3, x minus 3, x minus 3, x minus 3, 2 and 2. We're going to write what's left. So for the first, we have a 2 and an x. So I'm going to write 2x equals. Then I have a 2 and a 5. So 2 times 5 is 10 minus. Then on this one, I have x minus 3. So in parentheses, I'm going to write x minus 3. Now I'm going to distribute that negative sign. So negative times x is negative x. Negative times negative 3 is positive 3. I'm going to combine like terms. So 10 plus 3 is 13. And now I'm going to solve. So I'm going to add 3. So 2x plus x is 3x. And then I'm going to divide by 3. So 13 over 3 would be our solution. So that's our solution. Now our excluded values are the things that would make the bottoms 0. So x minus 3. So we would add 3 to both sides. X cannot equal 3. That's our excluded value. So this one over here, what would I multiply by? Well, we have a 2 on one of the denominators. We have an x minus 2 on the other denominator. So now we have to multiply each piece. So for the first fraction, it's going to be 2 times x minus 2 times x over x minus 2. We did that fraction. Equal sign. 2 times x minus 2 times 5 over x minus 2. That fraction's gone. Minus sign. 2 times x minus 2 times 1 over 2. That fraction's gone. Now I simplify. So the x minus 2's are gone. The x minus 2's are gone. The 2's are gone. Now we're going to write what's left. So on this one, I have 2x equals. Then I have 2 times 5, which is 10. And then I have x minus 2. So I write x minus 2 in parentheses. Now I distribute that negative sign. So distribute minus x, and then that becomes plus 2. Combine like terms. 10 plus 2 is 12. Add x to both sides. 3x equals 12. Divide both sides by 3. 12 divided by 3 is 4. Why don't you guys pause the video and try to solve this one on your own and see how it goes. All right. So for this one, you have one fraction on each side. So we cross multiply. Negative 3 times 3x plus 1. And then for the other one, we would do 4 times 2x plus 1. And then distribute. So negative 3 times 3 is negative 9x minus 3. And then 4x times 2 is 8x plus 4. And then we would just solve. So we're going to subtract 8x from both sides. So we have negative 17x. And then add 3. And we get negative 17x equals 7. Divide both sides by negative 17. And we get x equals negative 7 over 17. What are the excluded values? So 2x plus 1 cannot equal 0. So we subtract 1. So 2x cannot equal negative 1. Divide by 2. X cannot equal negative 1/2. There's one excluded value. The other one, 3x plus 1 cannot equal 0. So we would subtract 1. 3x cannot equal negative 1. Divide by 3. X cannot equal negative 1/3. So those are the excluded values. I just realized I forgot to do that up here. So this one, the excluded would be 2, because that's what would make that denominator. All right, try this video, or try this problem. Hint, you need to factor this one. All right, so if we factor x squared negative 2, 1 times negative 2 is negative 2. So you either have 2 and negative 1 or negative 2 and 1. To get negative 1, you have negative 2x and x. So this is x, this is negative 2, this is x, this is 1. So this is the same as x minus 2, x plus 1, which you may notice are the same as these ones. So we just have to multiply by both of those. So x minus 2, x plus 1. So if we multiply here, we get x minus 2, x plus 1, 2, and the bottom is x minus 2. Now that fraction's done. Put a plus. Then for the next one, we get x minus 2, x plus 1, 1 over x plus 1. That fraction's done. Equal sign. Then we get x minus 2, x plus 1, 1 over x minus 2, x plus 1. That fraction's done. Now we're going to simplify. So that goes away, that goes away, that goes away. What's left is 2 times x plus 1 plus x minus 2 equals 1. So we distribute 2x plus 2 plus x minus 2 equals 1. Combine like terms. 3x equals 1. Divide by 3. X equals 1/3. And then our excluded values would be the ones that make these two equal 0. So 2 and negative 1. All right. Our linear reminders are, we have our slope formula, y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2. Slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. So that's slope-intercept. Point-slope form is the m times x minus x1 plus y1. x1, y1 is a point. A vertical line is x equals a number. Horizontal line is y equals a number. Parallel lines have the same slope. Perpendicular lines have negative reciprocal slopes. So that's like 2/3. And then flip it and change the sign. So our quick refresher, find the equation of a line between 2 points in slope-intercept form. So first you would find the slope. So you subtract the y's. 4 minus negative 3 is 7. Subtract the x's. 3 minus 0 is 3. There's your slope. Put it in point slope form. So we would do x minus 3 plus 4 using the first point. And then to turn it into slope-intercept, we distribute. So 7/3 x. And then 7/3 times 3. 7 times 3 is 21 over 3. And then we just combine like terms. So 21 over 3 is 7. And negative 7 plus 4 is negative 3. So there's our slope-intercept form. So pause the video and go ahead and try it. All right. So 6 minus 4 is 2. Negative 2 minus 1 is negative 3. So that's your slope. put it in point slope form, negative 2/3 x plus 2 plus 6. Distribute, you get negative 2/3 x minus, what is going on? Negative 2/3 x minus 4/3 plus 6. And then if 6/3 would be 18/3. So that would be y equals negative 2/3 x, negative 4/3 plus 18/3 is 14/3. There's your slope-intercept form. All right, new form of a line is standard form. That looks like ax plus by equals c. A, b, and c are integers, meaning no decimals, no fractions. So you can find standard form the same way. We just get rid of the fractions once we're at this point. So find the equation with m equals negative 6. So that's telling us the slope is negative 6 and passes through the point. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to write it in point slope. So negative 6 x minus 1/4 minus 2. I'm going to distribute. So negative 6x plus 6/4 minus 2. Now I want to get rid of the fractions, just like we were doing with the other thing. So I'm going to multiply everything by 4. So 4 times y is 4y. 4 times negative 6x is negative 24x. 4 times 6/4. So 4 times 6 is 24. And then 24 divided by 4 is 6. And 4 times 2 is 8. Now I have no more fractions. I can combine like terms. So 6 minus 8 is negative 2. And then I just want to get the x on the other side. So I would add 24x to both sides. So I have 24x plus 4y equals negative 2. And that is standard form. Except that's, oh yeah, yep, that's standard form. There you go. All right, so why don't you try it? Pause the video. All right, so y equals negative 1/3 x minus 1 plus 1/3. Distribute. Now you don't want to do your multiplying until after you've gotten rid of the parentheses, because you don't want to mess anything up. So you always want to make sure you get rid of the parentheses before you get rid of the fractions. So now multiply everything by 3. So 3y equals negative 1x plus 1 plus 1. Combine like terms. 3y equals negative x plus 2. Add x to both sides, and you get x plus 3y equals 2. All right. And then determine if the lines are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. So first we want to find the slope. So 3y equals negative 4x plus 3. So I'm going to turn it into slope-intercept form, divide everything by 3. So y equals negative 4/3 x plus 1. Slope of this line, negative 4/3. Now I'm going to do this one. 3x minus 4y equals 8. So I'm going to subtract 3x. Negative 4y equals negative 3x over 8. Divide everything by negative 4. And we get y equals 3/4 x minus 8 over 8 divided by negative 4 is 2. So this slope is 3/4. So those are flipped fractions. One's positive and one's negative. So these are perpendicular. You do the you try. All right, so we have 2y minus x equals 10. So I'm going to add x to both sides. 2y equals x plus 10. Divide everything by 2. I get y equals 1/2 x plus 5. This slope is 1/2. 2y equals x plus 4. Divide everything by 2. Y equals 1/2 x plus 2. This slope is 1/2. They are the same, so it's parallel. So some of that is just a refresher. Some of it added standard form at the end there. And then we added a few new things, but that is 2-2. Let me know if you have any questions.